gotta do, gotta be what God wants me to be. Nothing else matters except for His will and His way. I made up my mind, I will follow Him always to my destiny. Hi, and welcome to Woman with Tammy Tubbs. It is a great day to be alive, but I want to ask the question on this morning. Have you ever felt depressed, perplexed, or just like no one cared, as if God Himself had forsaken you, have left you, and you just couldn't hear that small, still voice speaking to you? Well, my guest on today is going to relieve you because she's in a ministry that's here to help you. At that breaking point, she's going to help you to get to the turning point in your life. Please welcome Miss Lindy Thomason, Executive Director of Contact Helpline. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
Now, you all are a Christian-based ministry. Tell us a little bit more about the Contact Helpline.
Okay. We're a 24-hour helpline, and we've been around for 36 years. Started in 75, and it's a organization. We're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for anyone, any age, any situation, to listen to and help you deal with whatever situation you might have. Mm-hmm. We're a listening, caring organization. We try to listen with our hearts. We try to be there for them and not tell them what to do or anything like that. Try to just guide them in what they're going through. Talking is a very good way to figure out what you need for yourself sometimes. So when you can hear yourself talking about it, it really helps. And so if people aren't pushing things at you to do or what to say or whatever, it really helps. So we're there for that. And we also do a program called a reassurance program where we call seniors or disabled once a day and check on them to make sure they're safe and that nothing's happened with them, or that they don't need some kind of assistance, or maybe to remind them to take their medicines or whatever they might need to help them get through the day. It just reassures them and their family to know that someone will call and check on them every day.
Wow, you all are really expressing the love of God.
Right. Yeah.
Now, some of the issues that I know you all deal with are depression.
Right.
What are some others that you all deal with?
Loneliness, domestic violence, relationship problems, husband and wife, or sometimes just boyfriend, girlfriend. Even teenagers have a lot of those kind of issues that they deal with, bullying with them. Suicide is a major issue. We don't get as many calls about suicide as we do other things, but we do deal with suicide, and we also answer for the suicide hotline. But we have mental illness with people, that anxiety issues, that maybe they can't sleep, maybe they have problems with that hearing voices, different things like that are going on with them, that they just can't rest, can't get at a peaceful state. So it just helps them to talk sometimes to get through that. But you name it, we just about get it. As far as a call, information referral, we try to refer people to services and agencies that can help them if they have a need. Sometimes they need a place to stay, or sometimes they need food, or whatever. So we try to help them with that as well. And we do cover 8 counties. Amen. Yeah. So we're pretty widespread in this area, and it's a rural area. So we try to get to all the counties as much as possible and try to help them. We do Choctaw and Clay, Lowndes, Octavia Hall, Monroe, Winston, Webster, Noxubee. I think that's it.
Oh, wow. That's great. And all the information that's shared via the telephone is confidential, correct?
It is confidential and anonymous. So unless you want to give your name or information, you don't have to. So it's strictly up to you. So it helps them to feel more comfortable, with that and everything. So,
do you see during certain months a higher, telephone ratings go up with certain months as far as with depression, suicide, domestic violence? Do you see a correlation there?
There are some higher months than others. I don't know that it's the same every year. A lot of it has to do with the barometric pressure and things like that. So, if the pressure's high, sometimes spring and summer are worse months than fall and winter. But then again, you had the holiday seasons and things like that sometimes cause that to be higher too. More people depressed or lonely, isolated more sometimes, and you think about things more then. a family and things a lot of times, that you don't have someone with you or something if you're alone. So, you know, it's kind of hard to tell, but there are some months that are higher. There, you know, but like I said, it does depend a lot on the pressure. You know, sometimes the full moon, you know,
Yes,
things like
ma'am.
that. All those things do play into it somehow, and I'm not sure why, but
Yes, ma'am.
But,
Now, your motto is listening with our hearts.
right.
Explain a little bit more, because many times, you know, in conversation, I've even read this as they'll say, well, most of the times when somebody's speaking, you're not really listening to them.
Right.
You're always thinking mentally your response to what they've just said.
Right.
And I know you all cannot do that. So
Right.
explain a little bit more in regards to listening with our
Okay.
hearts.
It has to be a caring person that wants to listen to someone, and that's what we try to do, is train volunteers that are interested in helping others to actually listen. And you have to connect with the person's feelings to do that. And you have to really be open and not have any distractions. You know, don't have the TV on, don't have the radio on, you know, things like that. So we try to tune other things out and be there listening wholeheartedly, because you don't see a face, you don't have a person's actions to help guide you. So you really have to listen to their voice and their tones and what they're going through. And it really, you can pick up on a lot just by really listening, you know, to all those things. So being on the phone, it does help in that respect, because you don't have those other things distracting you.
Yes.
As far as them looking at you or not and things like that. But you don't have that body language either to look at. So their voice and their tones tell you a lot. Sometimes the background noises tell you something too
Yes,
about their
ma'am.
situation. So, you know, all those little things help. So we try to really listen and let them express themselves. And if we can connect with their feelings, you know, they're really feeling depressed or really feeling down or whatever, and they feel that with you. You know, you feel that with them, I guess. And then they really feel more open to share more of what's going on with them, because they feel like you care.
Yes.
Because nobody really wants to tell you anything unless they know you care.
Yes,
you know,
ma'am.
So
So,
it
in
helps.
other words, you have to be full of compassion,
Right. yeah.
love,
Right.
someone who's willing to, I guess, forget about how you're feeling. Because
Right.
I've experienced sometimes when someone comes, I really need to talk to you, and you may be having a bad day.
Right, yeah, right.
And so when they start telling their story of how they're feeling, you have to forget about yourself
Right,
and
yeah.
meet the needs of that individual.
Right, yeah. Yeah, usually when we come on to a shift, you know, and you're just coming on, you do kind of debrief each other, you know, if someone's just leaving a shift. If they've had a problem call or something, that you can talk with them about it, you know, and it's confidential within our organization, you know, so no one else hears it, you know, but
wonderful.
it helps them to be able to deal with what they've just dealt with, because sometimes it is hard to, you know, you don't know if you did everything you could for that person or if there was something else you could have done. So you second guess yourself sometimes. So that helps us to be able to, you know, to deal with it later. But then when you start your shift, maybe, you know, you say a little prayer and Lord help me with whatever comes up, because you
Yes.
never know what the call is going to be about.
Yes,
It could be a simple call, you know, what's going on today, what the weather's like. You know, some people just want to talk to somebody, so they've been watching TV all day, and they, you know, go over some of the events that are happening, you know, and what do you think about this, you know, and all. And some are having problems with their bills or finances and things. And, you know, a lot of the calls we get are not that serious, but, you know, some are, you know, so we have to be ready for those too. So that next one could be a suicidal caller.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have had some, you know, that first thing they say is, you know, I've just taken some pills, and I wanted you to talk with me for a few minutes till I get sleepy.
Oh my!
You know, or something,
so what do you do in that instance where you feel like this is a red alert, danger?
Right.
What do you do in a circumstance like that?
Well, sometimes we sort of panic, but, you know, we have to stop and think, you know, exactly what we do next, you know, because you're not always expecting it, you know, or you don't ever think someone will say that to you, you know, sometimes. But you just have to stop and think, okay, now how's this person feeling? You know, let me see what's going on. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with you right now that makes you feel like that you had to take these, you know, or is there anyone with you there? You know, trying to figure out if there's any kind of life hope there. They called us, which is a clue that they are wanting to survive, maybe.
Yes, ma'am.
They maybe don't want to die, but they don't know what else to do. They've been in so much pain or heartache or whatever's going on with them that they just want some relief, and they thought this is the only thing they can do. I have had taken calls that started out that way, and then a little more we talked, they hadn't really taken them yet, but they were there ready to take them. And so that relieved my mind, tremendously that, we had the time, but if you feel like you don't have the time, you have to go into, well, can I call someone for you, or emergency things, what can I find out about this person or where they are, because we don't have caller ID, so we don't know where they are. We can't trace it, so.
Yes.
Now on our suicide line, they do have a way set up where we could trace a call, but that's the only line that we could. But we try to let it be their choice, because everything in their life happens for a reason, and their choice is optional. It's the main goal. It's what they want.
Okay.
And we could tell them all day long what to do but it might not be right for them. We wish we could save everyone, and we wish we could do exactly what we knew to do for everyone to help them, but it might not be what's best for them. So
now, do you all do follow-up calls?
We can do follow-up calls if they want it. We in the past we never have, but industries are changing and rules are changing on different things like the suicide line, to where we do offer a follow-up if they would like one the next day. Most do not, but some would be appreciative of one. I think it just depends on the situation, how desperate they are, or how much family they have, and things like that. I think a lot of times on what's going on with them, or if they live with someone else that might get the call and they wouldn't want them to know they had done something, or were thinking about something. So just depends on the situation.
Now I have a question for you, because I can tell that your heart is really in the ministry that you serve in. How did you know that this was a calling for your life, to meet the needs and to minister and help those that are contemplating suicide, that may be depressed or going through a domestic abuse situation?
Yeah. For me, it was many years ago. I went through a really bad divorce, and took me a long time to get over it and to help myself in the situation and get better myself. To learn what things I could do to change and be better. So I went to a lot of support groups and things like that. But I felt, I went to church. I've always went to church, and I've, been a Christian, and I am a Christian. But I didn't feel close enough to talk to some of those people, because we went to church as a family,
ma'am.
And when you feel like if you tell somebody what's going on, that they'll have thoughts about you or your spouse or whatever, and you don't know how to deal with that, situation, if it works out, or if it doesn't, so it's a real touchy situation, and you're not sure who to tell and who not to tell, things that might be going on, or how you're feeling, or what to do yourself. And I really didn't have anybody much I felt like I could talk with, at the time, other than the group people or something like that I was going to. And so they helped me. And a friend from there told me about Contact years later. She became a volunteer with Contact, and she thought it might be something I might be interested in doing. So I looked into it, took the classes, and it really was a great opportunity. The classes are really good, and that help you in any situation, and to help yourself. So it really was good for that. And I felt like, well, maybe I could give something back, and this is a good opportunity to help someone, because if I would have known it was there, it would have helped me.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you often feel suicidal yourself in a bad situation like that. It might be just a fleeting moment, or
we all do,
or it could be longer. Right.
Wow, I'm so being blessed here on set with Miss Lindy Thomason, of the Executive Director of Contact Helpline. The 800 number is available on the screen. If you right now are feeling like I can't make it, you give her a call right now. There's someone waiting to minister to your heart, 24 hours, 7 days a week. We'll be right back. I love you all.
Living in this world ain't easy.
Mission Full Gospel Baptist Church presents its Woman and Woman Empowerment Conference, October the 22nd, 2011, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Charity Mission Full Gospel Baptist Church, 807 Tarleton Road in Crawford, Mississippi. The theme of this conference is Armed with Purpose, which will focus on teaching women how to change the world by being fierce and fabulous through God's love, presence, and power. Empowerment speakers include Tammy Tubbs and Jasmine Murray, an American Idol finalist. Registration for this conference is $20 per person, which includes lunch, conference material, and networking opportunities. Vendor space is available. For additional information, please contact Tammy Tubbs at 404-468-5971, 404-468-5971, or register at TammyTubbs.com. You don't want to miss this Woman and Woman Empowerment Conference, October the 22nd, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Charity Mission Full Gospel Baptist Church. We'll see you there.
My destiny.
All right, we're back here, and I pray that you all have called that 800 number. If you're in need, don't be ashamed. God loves you. Someone is waiting, standing by, and ready to listen to your heart. All right, Miss Lindy, we're back here, and thank you for sharing your testimony of how you found yourself in the midst of a divorce, but yet and still God transitioned you to be in a place where you're able to help those who have felt the same way that you felt at one point of a time, and you're not judgmental, but you're just open with compassion and love. Now let's talk a little bit about the ASSIST program and what's coming up in September.
Okay. The ASSIST training is Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training. September 16th and 17th, we have a class coming up. It is 2 days, full 2 days you need to be there for. But it is a great tool to help you learn how to help someone get the help they need if they might be suicidal. You never know when someone next to you might be suicidal, and it gives you some key points to think about, to look at. You know, somebody just being really sad one day, or you know, really happy after they've been really sad. You know, things like that. There's a lot of red flags for people that you can learn to look for, and to help them and guide them to some help. And to want to live, you know. They're in some kind of pain, some kind of situation. So these training classes are really great. They're in addition to what we normally teach, even our volunteers for suicide intervention. And it gives you a little guide to follow, step by step, things you can cover with a person for their needs and what might help them. So it really does help.
With someone who's kind of, I guess, in a sense, withdrawn very much, would you consider them to be someone you would watch as far as the suicidal watch?
Very possible. And you know, you probably wouldn't necessarily just watch them unless you ask the question, are you suicidal? That has been a very big taboo with people, not to ask, that it puts the thought in their mind, but that is not right. It does not give them the thought, because people have the thoughts all the time. It just helps them know that somebody might be willing to listen to them about it, and that they can share, because people are afraid to mention it or won't, you know. But if you will ask, it is so amazing to see the difference in their expression on their face. If you ask, how much more relief there is there that, oh, yes, I am. You know, or if they're not, you know, you've lost nothing, because they'll just say, oh no, I would never think about doing that, you know, and you're fine. But at least you know, and you don't have to wonder, because if you walk away and not ask, and then something happens, then it comes back to you, it haunts you, you know, to say, I wish I would have even thought to ask, you know. So once you know that and you don't ask, then you really feel like it's important to ask, and it's so important to that person to know that they can share with someone their thoughts about that.
I've read there's even a higher rate with our young people right now.
Our younger people and our older people are the highest risk of suicide, and Mississippi is one of the highest, not the highest, but one of the highest in Mississippi or in the United States. Actually, we're ranked, I think, 12th. In the United States, or 22nd, I'm sorry, we're 22nd in 2007, ranked for suicidal deaths. But Lowndes County is one of the highest in Mississippi. Not the highest, but one of the highest in Mississippi for suicides for some reason. And we've had several this year. I know we've had at least 5 or more already, and most of those were middle-aged people. But the teens are at risk, greatly at risk, and because of peer pressure and, you know, just girlfriend, boyfriend and things like that. There's so much more pressure on them today than there used to be years ago, I think. It's
The
a lot of
bullying.
it. The bullying, even with small children. We've had someone call us young as 4 being suicidal. And you never think of a child that young even knowing what that is. But to this day and time, they know. They know so much more than what you want them to know. But and you know, there's so many accidental deaths, or they're classed as accidental because there's no evidence for sure either way that are probably suicidals, suicides. And so there's a lot more out there that this happens to, and there's a lot that attempt suicide that do not complete, that, you know, aren't recorded, you know, but they are still at risk and always will be at risk. And every suicide touches at least 6 other people, if not more, because they knew that many people at least, you know, and it affects them. And every time you're connected with someone that is suicidal, it makes your chances higher, because once you've been familiar with it, it's always something maybe easier to do. So, you know, and teens are so much apt to follow the crowd or someone else or something. So that's, I think, one of the reasons for them. And we are going to try to put out more information about what we do in the schools, if at all possible, this year, to try to get them aware that there is that helpline. I think a lot of people don't think about it for kids, you know, and the health fair we were just recently at, you know, we tried to tell as many kids and parents that were there that it is for children as well. You know, they can always call anytime if they just need to talk. Because a lot of times they don't want to talk to their parents. And then if they talk with us, we usually try to encourage them to talk. Is there someone in your family that you've been close to before that you could talk with? It might not be a parent, but it might be an aunt or an uncle or someone, you know, else. And so it helps them more to have some more connections somewhere.
Yes, ma'am. At least someone that they can trust.
They can trust, right.
That's not going to, you know, yell at them or belittle them, but have compassion and find an alternate means to work through this situation that they feel is just life-threatening or suicidal.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Now, if someone is watching right now, and I want you to look in the camera, and they're saying, I would love to volunteer, because you are looking for teachers, counselors, ministers, someone who has, I call the ministry of help, that God is just really prompting your heart. If you're retired, looking for some way of meeting the needs of people, elderly, the young, those that are hurting, bleeding right now. What words of encouragement would you give to them to transition from helping, you know, say breaking point to the turning point?
Right, yeah. Just to be there and to be open and available to the person. Always looking for those that are just not on top of their game, you know, not really, you know, the ones that are standoffish or people seem to pick on more and things like that. To, you know, to reach out to those people as much as you can, or to be a volunteer, you know. Give us a call and see maybe if you might take the training at least to help you more if you don't feel comfortable with a lot of things like that. The training can help you. We offer it to the community. So even if you don't become a volunteer, you know, it can help you in whatever you're doing in your mission. So our training is really good for that, I think, to help anyone that deals with people every day. And most of us do. You know, if you're working at all, you're dealing with people in one way or the other. And to try to, you know, be more compassionate with that person and truly listen to what they're saying and what their expressions are. You know, we're so busy, it's hard to always do that.
It is. So now you all have an upcoming training in October, correct?
October, we have a training classes for volunteers or anyone. That's 3 Saturdays in October, the 15th, the 22nd and 29th.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
We've just scheduled that one. So
it's from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's in Columbus, correct?
It's in Columbus.
Okay.
If we have a number of people in one area, we could, you know, make a special training for them.
Okay.
You know, so if it's outside, because we have done some training classes in West Point before, and we could start full in other areas as well. So.
Okay, and I see loneliness and grief. We haven't talked about those that are grieving when they call the death of a loved one.
Right. Yeah.
What observations do you really sense or hear when they call in regards to someone that's grieving?
The loneliness, the missing that loved one, missing the times that they could spend with them, you know, their homes being all alone, you know, just so quiet and not the sounds, not the smells that were there before, you know, things like that. And just feeling like they can continually talk about their loved one, because after a period of time, people think they should move on and not be talking about it. Well, grief is a hard thing to go through, and it takes everyone different amount of time, you know, and it takes years to get over someone, especially when you've lived with them for years, you know, if they've been married for many, many years, and then they've lost, you know, their companion, and that's been their best friend and lover and everything, and they're so lost without anybody, and not a lot of people take the time to, you know, invite them to lunch or whatever. Everybody's in couples and pairs, you know, and it's hard to find people that will really help them, you know, a lot of times. So they're feeling all those lonely things, and they really want to talk about their loved one and the times they had together and things they did together. And so we just, you know, invite them to share, you know, and to talk with us and cry with it, you know, if they want to cry, you know, and if they want prayers, you know, we'll offer them a prayer, you know, whatever we can do to help them.
Wow. As you were speaking, I could really sense someone saying, you know, well, I've lost a child. My mother has gone on. My father has passed away. And I want to really encourage you to do something that I do. Yes, I did question God when my 2 children passed away within 2 months, but I found healing in the process of being able to talk about them, being able to mimic the things that they would say where we would laugh, remember the good times. So I want to encourage you to pick up those photographs, your memory books. Go back and look at the moment. You can, when you see a picture, it takes you back into the moment of the very day, the event, the hour, the time. I can look at things that my husband and I did with our children, and I can just vividly picture and remember. So I want to encourage you, don't cry, you know, to the point where you feel like, I can't make it. I know what that feels like, but that's the enemy. God came that we may have life and have it more abundantly. So I want to encourage you on today, get your memory books out, get the videos out, and go back in time and remember the good times. Not only that, it's okay to talk about them. I talk about my children all the time as if they're still there.
That's
so
great.
I want to just encourage you, even if you're feeling lonely on today, God loves you. Call the 800 number. There are people waiting with the love of God to embrace and to minister to your heart. You're not alone on today. God has sent this true angel to be a blessing to you. So I wanted to just share that with you. I know what it feels like. And I was miles and miles away from home. As a matter of fact, 12 to 13 hours away from Mississippi. My parents weren't there, you know. I didn't have the love and support that I have right now. So there are times when you're going to feel like nobody loves me. There are times when those suicidal thoughts are going to come. I know what that feels like. Well, hey, they're gone. You might as well take yourself out. But then there's that still voice that says, no, no, no.
That's right.
No, I love you. So I want to just encourage you on today. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Even if you're like, they're going to know my name. Do they have to directly give their name?
No, do not have to give a name.
See?
We don't ask for a name usually.
See?
Sometimes they ask ours. Well, we don't give our correct name out either, because we, you know, it's confidential for that person too. You know,
so even if you want to call, pick up the phone. Don't allow pride to keep you in bondage on this morning. I just want to simply encourage you. God loves you, and He set up a program where you can let your heart out, how you're feeling, because we can't always go to an individual because they'll judge us. You know.
And they might not, but then again, you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
So those resources are available. I love you all so very much. If you are an advisor, a mental health worker, a teacher, just anyone, if you would love to volunteer, do give them a call at the 800 number, and they'll be standing there with open arms, embracing you in to share the love of God. Okay, Miss Lindy, it's been wonderful.
Wonderful talking with you. Thank you so much.
I love you. Thank you so very much. All right, we'll see you all next time on Woman to Woman with Tammy Tubbs. God bless.
Living in this world.